Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Final game of the season. Playoffs not going to happen. Everything is done. Now it's just a matter of little pride, maybe a little, knock the Chiefs out of the number 1 seed. Hey, let's make sure Josh Jacobs gets his rushing title. Davante Adams most receiving yards ever. And instead, we get our dicks kicked in again by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Again, Chiefs 31, Raiders 13. And I think we found a new mascot for the Raiders. This guy.
I
we deserve better. We are a fan base that deserve so much better than what we've been getting from this goddamn franchise. Complete failure by just about all parties involved today. Carlson good as always. AJ Cole good as always. Hunter Renfrow with a really good game. 7 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, not a single thing to really be proud of. Even our stars, Davante Adams, had some bad drops. Jarrett Stidham gave up 6 sacks. Really bad interception after playing really well last week. Just utter failure every part of the game.
Yeah, they just it didn't seem like they came ready to play. It was a small little piece, a little blurb of our preview show. I said we have to out situation the Chiefs. We have to play better in the situational ball than the Chiefs did. And a big swinging point was we got that 3 and out.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to punt from their end zone. And instead, we get the roughing the passer penalty, and they score a touchdown on that drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge, huge, huge swinging point, I think, because we were still very much in that game at that point. But that swing really took us out of it. Stidham played like a young quarterback. He had some nice plays. He had some plays I'm sure he wished he wanted back.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line played probably as bad as I think they've played all season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough, man. It's tough when you have a bad team, dude. You have a bad team.
Hey, don't put this on me. Yeah. Like when you're when you're a married couple and your kid acts up, you're like, oh, your son's really being a shithead. And you're like,
no,
RJ, your team's so bad. I can't believe you like the Raiders. What's wrong with you?
We got a bad team, man. What do you want? They're just bad. And I tweeted this out, and I want to tell you, if we draft any skill players other than possibly a quarterback, I will firmly be on board with the McZiegler fucking train out of fucking Vegas. There is no reason why we should draft any skill positions other than maybe a quarterback.
So it's funny you brought that up. So that guy with the "we deserve better" sign, he flipped it around and said, bench McDaniels, fire Josh McDaniels, bench Josh, something like get rid of Josh McDaniels. And someone subtweeted that with, they kicked him out of the stadium for this sign. Shima 86. I saw that same tweet. Now it was just like a random person who tweeted it. So it wasn't like reported, and I don't know if it's true or not. But that would be so chicken shit if he got kicked out for a sign. Like, dude, he coached a 6-11 team. Like, come on. Of course you can be pissed at your coach.
Yeah, it's not unprecedented. We've seen that happen before. It's not like we're the first team to do that, and it's definitely not any backing up of Josh McDaniels at all. But you've seen it across other sports and other things. It's just a bad look, honestly. You understand that fans are frustrated, but I don't have a problem with it either way. If you let it go, if you don't let it go, whatever. Not a big deal for me.
I'm still in the same, look, Josh McDaniels' season here has been a failure this first season. No question about it. 6-11 off of a playoff 10-win team. Utter failure of a season. But I'm still sticking, and I said this before the season even started, and I'm sticking to it now. One season's just not enough. Let them figure it. Now, when we talk about next show, we're going to talk about what we're looking for the most in the offseason. There is a situation where I'd be like, okay, you move on from McDaniels, but it's a unique situation. It involves trading McDaniels and Carr, or McDaniels at least, to the Pats, because they need an offensive coordinator, right? With how bad it's there. Like, they might be desperate enough to be able to eat like whatever we have to pay McDaniels to be fired, right? Like part of his guaranteed money. They might be desperate enough for an OC to like get rid of him. And then we get Sean Payton. Like, again, reaching for the stars here, but like that's the only situation. Be like, all right, get rid of Josh McDaniels. He's not going anywhere. He's sticking around, right? So, but atrocious year out of Josh McDaniels' second tenure as a head coach.
First, I want to thank London Raider for noticing the T-shirt. Yes, I did fuck around and have a triple double.
Unlike the Raiders.
Look, I'm not gonna bang. I want to be consistent. All right. And I want to say this before we move forward. And I've talked about this before. Moving on from a previous quarterback it's a different. What am I trying to say? I'm kind of drunk.
I don't know. I wish it's
a different choice. It's a different move altogether than who the next one is going to be. Mm-hmm. Those are separate. When you choose to move on from the old one, of course you want to have something. You want to upgrade and get better.
Yeah,
but it's a different choice, right? And how poorly Stidham did today has no reflection on, we should have moved on from our previous quarterback. I just want to put that out there. That should have happened. Stidham was the guy that was there. We saw what he had. We had to see what we had with him. He played like a young quarterback plays. Okay. As far as being consistent, I'm not going to bang on John Gruden for giving PG a second year as defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And not say, you know what? I think it might be time for Patrick Graham to get the hell out of here. Another PG.
Yeah.
Because look, man, this defense is really bad. And I will admit they do have a pretty bad lack of talent, and they were more injured going to the end of the year. I mean, even off of the lack of talent they had to start the season, they're missing like half of their defensive line. They're missing all of their linebackers, and they're missing probably half of their secondary. So besides that, even the players that were here for a while, you didn't see any progression in Amik Robertson. You didn't see any progression in Hobbs. You didn't see really any progression in Merrick. You didn't see any of those players get better.
Saw a regression in almost all those guys.
So Patrick Graham, I'm going on record right now that the season's over, okay? And now we can look back on the season. This is the appropriate time to make these decisions. I don't know that Patrick Graham should be back next season.
I envy, since I'm doing a dry January, how drunk you are right now.
Oh, I'm pretty fucking drunk. So let me tell you something. So
I envy you. Hey, was it airplane? Picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Yeah, right?
God damn, I've been dry January. I've been sober for 7 days. I have a full bar stacked next to my television, just looking at the bottle of Jameson. Like, you can turn my bad feelings into good feelings right now.
So where I work, I work with a lot of different sowers, and there's like two clans. They get along, but there's the Vietnamese sowers on one side, and there's like the Latina sowers. I think they're mostly Mexican. I think there's one Salvadorian in there. Anyway,
goddamn United Nations over there.
Yeah, right. One of the Vietnamese sowers walks up to me randomly on, I don't know, I think Wednesday, and she's like, "Here, do you want this?" And she hands me a fucking Modelo, like at work. And I'm like, I can't drink this at work. Like, you know, I drive forklift at work sometimes. Like, I'd be drinking on the job. Sure. And she goes, "Oh, put it in the refrigerator. If you like Modelo." I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I don't really drink that much, but yeah, I'll have a beer every now and then." And she's like, "Okay, tomorrow I'll bring you." I guess she had a party for Christmas at her house or whatever, and she had a bunch of beer left over. She bought me like a fucking 24-pack. So I said, "You know what? I can't fit all these and they're already cold. I can't fit them all in my fridge. I got to do something with them."
There you go. JR the Barbarian, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you. RJ, love you, brother, but please stop supporting Carr. last episodes.
Come
Now
on.
AWB all. We need a franchise quarterback. Will Levis, defensive pieces, O-line via free agency. At the end of the day, Raiders.
Thank you.
Look, I mean, I
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, buddy. I've made my car takes abundantly clear throughout the course of this season. I hope this game, and again, I'm not turning this into a car episode, but I hope this game makes people understand how poor McDaniels head coach is, where it wasn't all Carr. In fact, I don't think Carr was the 7th or 6th worst thing wrong with this team, even though he's a scapegoat, right? Not because he's what's wrong with this team. He's a scapegoat because of his contract, and he was structured as such to be the scapegoat. That's why. So
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but please, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that 100%. There's a reason why he was given a prove it deal, because he had to show enough.
Yeah, and he's the only quarterback that was willing to take like a contract like that, essentially a 1-year guaranteed contract, a franchise quarterback. Like he did a team friendly deal, which other people don't do, and it gave the Raiders an out. Right? Whether it's the right move or not, time will tell. But understand that's what happened here. He wasn't what was exactly wrong with the Raiders. There's a million things wrong with the Raiders. Could we do better at quarterback? God, I hope so. Now moving forward. Franchise quarterback. What does that look like? And I like I said in the pre-show, he wrote so much. He's like covering everything up. Should I go up? Anyway, you guys don't want to see my face anyway.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I said in the pre-show yesterday, there's nothing Jarrett Stidham could do today that would make me say, oh, for sure he's the guy. He's going to be our starter next year. Don't even bother. And there's nothing bad he can do today that's going to say, cut him, get rid of him. We don't need him. Cut ties, right? So as bad as he played today, I still want him in the building. He knows the system. We've seen what his best looks like against the best defense in football. And we know what he needs to work on, right? Keep him in the building. I'm still not even completely against him being some sort of bridge quarterback. If we draft someone high, let him kind of be that guy.
I think that's a good idea, man.
I mean, best case scenario, we get because look, we've got Davante. How many more years of Davante's prime is left? 2 or 3? How many more years are left?
I would say closer to 3. He's not a speed demon. He's a technician, and those guys usually
age a little better.
Look at Rice. Look at Brown. Like those are like the ones that we've seen in our uniforms that have been technicians, good hands that have enough speed, just enough speed. So I think we have at least a good 3 years of his top, and then maybe 1 or 2.
And even Davante at 80% is still an amazing player on your team, good. Right? Still really, really good, right? So we got 2 to 3 years of Davante's prime, probably less of Waller's prime. I'd like to not be okay. Let's spend 2 or 3 years developing a rookie quarterback. I'm not saying don't draft one and develop one. I still think we're looking at, the Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, someone in Josh McDaniels' system to step in next season, and then give, maybe Garbers can still develop, whatever, right? Draft high, whatever. It's still I don't want to throw a rookie into this when you've got some serious pieces right now in their prime.
Okay, first off, let's go through some of this stuff, and I'll address that. Okay. JR the Barbarian, another super chat. Appreciate it, man. Give Graham a chance. He had no first choices, no first rounders. I don't think he had any first rounders playing today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he had any first rounders on defense at all.
No.
Okay, I see that.
Was Chandler Jones a first rounder?
No.
Well, look, this hold on, real quick.
Okay.
This is the thing. What do I always say? What direction are you going? We knew this defense was going to be bad this season. My problem is they got worse. That's what concerns me with Patrick Graham. Not that they're bad, that they got worse. And we don't have a lot of talent there. No first round drafters there, right? Whether it's Patrick Graham's fault.
We do. Cleveland Farrell was a first round pick. Cleveland Farrell.
Touche. 4th overall. What do we do? And he had a sack. There you go.
Damn it, I just drank all my water.
But no matter who you put the blame on for Chandler Jones, right? Did Patrick Graham ask for him? Did Josh McDaniels ask for him? Did Ziegler do it on his own? Whatever, right? Okay, personnel's not good, but they got worse. That's the issue. That to me is the issue. Merrick regressed. Nate Hobbs regressed. Even Jonathan Abram, who's gone, regressed. Averett was a bust. Like,
I don't know about that. I think he just played like himself and just
right?
like, you know what, we're done with you. But here's what I'm looking at. I understand that we didn't play these offensive juggernauts in that time frame, but they did have a nice stretch where they weren't letting teams blow out their league average, their season average. They were holding teams 17 points and below for a good 5-6 games. Then we just happened to play probably the best two teams in the freaking league the last 2 weeks of the season. And we also happened to be extremely injured the last 2 weeks of the season on defense. So those are there is context does matter. And there is that, but I don't know that we've seen anyone really jump out like Divine Diablo jumped out last year, like Hobbs jumped out last year. We didn't really see that jump out.
Merrick was so solid last year. You never heard his name.
Concern.
Yeah, he never got beat, right? He wasn't a big play guy, but he was a no play guy, which is a good thing for a free safety sometimes. Like, yeah, no one beats me, right? You don't beat me over the top. At least last season we didn't give up big plays. Like that was like the one calling, like that was our standard operating procedure for Gus Bradley, right? Keep everything in front of you, have a great pass rusher, don't get beat, right? Bend, don't break. Now we broke 2, but we didn't give up giant plays. And I was like, okay, that's Gus Bradley, bad personnel. That's what we did. This season, it was like, the fuck are we? We don't get interceptions. We don't get turnovers. We don't get sacks. You can pass on us. You can run on us. Like, what's our identity? What's our scheme? What's like, again, imagine being Andy Reid or a great offensive coordinator and having the Raiders on coming up that week. Like, you got to be just like licking your chops.
You can do whatever you want.
Double Maxx Crosby and then do whatever you want.
They were just making fun. They were just dancing in the freaking huddle and doing a lot of stupid shit. All right,
they were trying to get dizzy before they ran a play. That's how little they cared about
just to make it like harder on yourselves.
Yeah. Jared the Barbarian, thank you again for the super chat. Also, love you guys. No homo. Oh, damn, I was hoping it was homo. Best Raiders channel. Literally can't wait for the next episode. Love the clashes, and at the end of the day, it's balanced. Well, thank you. Well, this is the key to a well-balanced show. I have the highest and utmost respect for Soto as a broadcaster and zero respect for him as a man. That's the key. That's how you make it work. That's how you make it work.
I'm a pretty solid dude, but I'm not a very good broadcaster.
See, that's how I make it work, right? I think Soto is an awesome broadcaster and a perfect person to share a mic with, but I think he's a piece of shit. So that's why we do a good show.
Either way. Cedric Moore, our Raiders are gay. I don't know how happy they are right now.
One of them was last season.
RJ.
No, that's factually accurate.
I was going gay as in happy,
not
his sexual orientation.
Oh, I didn't get my thesaurus out. I thought you were. Oh, I'm sorry.
Golly.
Yeah.
So look, what happened today? We had poor situational football. The two big killers were the roughing the passer at the goal line. We would have gotten the ball around midfield, and the failed 4th and goal. That was basically a 14-point swing right there. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah. Let's dive into Stidham. After last week having a fantastic game, this week he went 22 of 36, 219 yards. About 80 of that was garbage time. 1 touchdown, beautiful throw to Hunter Renfrow in the corner of the end zone, and 6 sacks. He ate a lot of sacks. 2 fumbles, one of them lost. I didn't know this. Derek Carr did not lose a fumble all season long.
No, he only fumbled twice, and we recovered both of them.
He traded him in for interceptions this season.
Yeah, right.
And then Stidham threw a really bad pick. I mean, that was an ugly, ugly pick. it was bad in every sense of the word. It was into double coverage, and it was underthrown, and Waller was wide open in the middle of the field. It was bad.
Well, I mean, Waller was wide open in the middle of the field because the ball was underthrown and the safety was able to go over and get the pick. It was a bad pass. It should have been deeper, and he was baited into making that throw. And that's just, it's something that if you see often, you're not going to get baited into it. You'll look off the safety before you throw. And it was bad. It was a bad play overall. I'm not gonna make any excuses for that. I'm not gonna make any excuses. It was a bad pass that Davante had to jump up and reach back for. Now it's Davante Adams, and you do expect probably one of the best receivers that we've seen the last 20 years to make that catch, but still, you don't want to rely on that.
The best receiver we've seen in 20 years.
I said arguably one of the. You remember? Don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I said.
That's why I asked for clarification.
Listen to the words that I'm saying. You won't have to.
You're slurring, Soto. That's why I'm asking for clarification. And I'm not mad at you for slurring. Again, I'm jealous. Like, I'm hate yelling at you because, like, oh God, you're feeling so good. I'm sitting here with my Gatorade and water.
What kind of
like
raid?
A Mormon? What a bum.
What a bum.
Well, let's talk about Davante. He didn't have a good game. His line was 5 receptions, 73 yards. He had a pretty good 22-yarder. Still a good route runner. He still got – there's a couple times. And, again, ESPN does the same damn thing CBS does. Like, they don't show you the routes that are ran. Like, every now and then they will. Like, they'll bust out the telestrator and they'll show you stuff. But other than that, you don't, like – so when we see Davante Adams running, like, wide open and Stidham hits him, it's like, oh, did he run a great route? Did the DB fall down? Was it a broken coverage? Like, we don't know. I'm going to assume a good route because it's Davante Adams. He had a couple of those. But he had some bad ones, man. Like, there's an underthrown touchdown catch, like could have been a touchdown that bounced right off his hands. So he was in double coverage again, and it was underthrown. But like Davante made a great adjustment to it, jumped up, high pointed it right off his hands.
Right off his hands.
Right. Stidham saw it a little late, so it didn't feel like it was the route that was supposed to be done, but it was an adjustment. Look, if the ball bounces off both hands of anybody, it's on the receiver. When it bounces both hands off of the highest paid receiver in football, Malo, Davante Adams. And that 4th and goal that was missed as well. That one wasn't on Stidham. That was the DB got there a little early. Remember that one? Like the DB kind of
that was a PI on both of those plays. Waller and fucking Davante. Those were both.
And it came right after what looked like sort of a PI by the Raiders. I love how like every time there's like a clear PI, but whoever is the broadcaster wants to defend the referee, they're like, oh, it's just a bang bang play. Well, that's all, just a bang bang. I wish I could win. I tweeted this out. I wish I could win arguments with my wife the way broadcasters do like defending refs. It's like, hey, babe, did you wash the dishes? No, but it was a bang bang play. Oh, okay, that's an acceptable answer.
It was a bang bang decision.
Right, it was a bang bang decision. It's like, oh, okay, I love you. I'll just go on and do it myself. Or like, hey, is this a picture of you banging my sister? Like, yeah, but it was a bang, bang, bang. Like, oh, okay, you're fine. You're innocent. Like, get the fuck out of here. JR the Barbarian, thank you again so much for the super chat. You guys should offer call-ins. Okay, last chat, sorry, LOL.
First off, no, I do not trust any of you. None of you I trust. I don't even trust myself half the time of what I'm going to say on this air. You're going to get us canceled in a second. This is live, okay? This gets out there, and I don't trust any of you guys.
This is why I've only done like my radio. I did 1 year of terrestrial radio on ESPN, 710 ESPN here in LA. Other than that, it's been 13 years of Sirius radio, podcasting, and YouTube because my mouth is too dirty to be on terrestrial radio. Imagine what y'all motherfuckers would sound like.
I don't trust any damn one of you guys. And you know what? I don't think any of you guys blame me for it either.
Will, thank you very much for the giant super chat. Much appreciated. Sweet
Thanks,
avatar,
Will. That's
by the way.
Sick avatar.
You guys are generous on the last play of the game, or last game of the season.
You guys get your tax checks in, or you guys get your what
no
is
joke.
What is it? What was that called? That card? Yeah. You
yeah.
guys get that? Is that what you guys are doing?
I literally got it yesterday. Like I got to cover up the numbers, but it's the was it middle class?
Middle class. I got mine like last week.
Fucking whatever. Yeah, I got mine today. I'm like, ooh,
that's my new grocery card.
I'm going straight to the strip club. Will, it makes me sick hearing the tomahawk chop in our stadium. It's a joke. Yeah, it
sucks.
Fucking blows. So, on Instagram, I gotta see who sent it to me. But one of the listeners, I keep forgetting who it is that sends me stuff, and I apologize. I need to credit correctly, especially when it's our own team, like our own family that's sending me stuff. Isaac Rojas. Thank you much for listening, and thank you for sending this on. He sent me an article how Mark Davis is reportedly not happy with Allegiant Stadium being filled with a lot of opposing team fans on a weekly basis. First off, I honestly don't think he gives a shit. That thing is sold out every single game, and it's the most expensive ticket in football. That's what Mark Davis cares about first and foremost. Second of all, if you're not happy that opposing teams are there, field a team that fucking wins.
I know,
That's
better.
Why? What, dude? Week 18 last season, Chargers in town. That was a playoff atmosphere. All Raiders. Why? Because we were a winning team with a game that mattered against a division rival with a shot at the playoffs. There was consequences in that game. Yeah, Raider Nation shows up. When you're going to pull that shit on us, when it's going to be a 6-win season and still the tickets are super expensive. Like, look, you made the choice, Mark Davis, to move to Las Vegas. And with that, you knew opposing teams would want to come here. Like, who doesn't want, like, if you look on your calendar, if you're the Browns or the Steelers or New England or any of these cities with shitty weather, and you're like, oh, wow, week 12, we're going to be in Las Vegas. Let's make a weekend of it. We're going to show up. We'll spend extra on tickets because we're already spending $300, $400 a night on a room, and we're going to lose $1,200 at the table. We're going to spend $300 on a steak dinner. It's like, yeah, we're going to spend good money on these tickets, and that's why you're getting rich, Mark Davis. But if you're mad that opposing teams are just papering our stadium, and that goddamn Allegiant Stadium was like 75% red today, field a team that wins. It's been proven Raider Nation will show up. Just don't suck.
I don't blame anybody who had a ticket to this game and was a Raider fan who flipped it to a fucking Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Make your money. I'm not counting anyone else's money.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make your money. I don't blame you guys one bit, because you know what, Mark Davis, if you want more black in that stadium, make it hard for your ticket holders to sell their tickets.
Yep.
Don't make it easy.
And they proved it, right? Week 18 last season.
Dude, it was
Chargers in town.
The Chargers don't have fans either.
That's the touche. Yeah, bad example, RJ. Bad example.
Right.
But to that point, like, a game that mattered, and it worked. Like, when a game is that close, right? As like to the last second of overtime, when it's that close, home field advantage could be the difference between a win and a loss. Easily. It probably was. When it's that close, and yet, because the team keeps sucking, I don't blame you guys for selling your tickets.
I don't blame you one bit.
Dude, those private seat licenses, those PSLs, 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand sometimes. Yeah. Get your money back if they're going to field a shit team. Sorry. Like, as much as I want to be like, no, be loyal to the core. Like, make sure the black hole's always there. Like, that'd be great. That'd be great. But the Raiders have to do some of their part as well. Johnny Gones, thank you so much for the super chat. Hunter Renfrow finally got a face mask call. Are the refs waiting to have him be decapitated before they pay attention? Was it last week that he got one? Was it last week where he got face masked and just like twisted in 180?
And he got up and was like,
and the refs like kind of like looked at each other with their hands on the flag, like, oh, should we?
like,
I mean, it's Hunter Renfrow.
I told you it was flag chicken. They're like, you gonna throw it?
Yeah.
You gonna throw it? I'm not gonna
you
throw
it.
it.
You gonna do it? You gonna do it? You gonna do it? No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It literally takes Hunter Renfrow getting like, what was it? What was that movie where the chick spins her head around? Poltergeist or?
Yeah. No, that was Why are you asking me this? It wasn't
because I know you're hammered and I want to quiz you.
It was
I'll let you think about it.
Okay.
Will, thank you once again for the super chat. I'd rather go to a road game rather than give Jamarcus Davis any more money. Is that the worst thing you can call somebody? The Jamarcus Russell of what you do?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It kind of works because Mark Davis is making money hand over fist despite fielding a shit team.
Who's he fisting?
That Cirque du Soleil performer that was in the booth with him a couple weeks ago. Remember her? What was her name? I always remember these smoke. Like, I see the smoking hot chicks when they're there. The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. I knew it was going to come to me.
Thank you so much, Will. Much appreciated. Yeah, that stadium was like 75-25 Chiefs. Easily.
That's rough.
What else?
Renfrow don't got that white privilege, bro. Renfrow is not getting those calls.
Opposite.
I don't know what you're talking about. Opposite of that.
Opposite. He's getting beat up. That was a beautiful throw though by Jarrett Stidham to Hunter in the corner. Like this was probably Hunter's best game of the season. Got open, and it was standard operating procedure for Hunter, right? Because I feel like the Chiefs, like their goal was to like shut down Davante, or first and foremost was shut down Josh Jacobs. We haven't gotten to Jacobs yet. It looks like he's going to for sure keep that rushing title. He had just 45 yards today, 2.6 yards per carry. Yeah, like it would take, like Nick Chubb was what, 160 behind. Now he's going to be like 200 behind. So Chubb would have to have just an ungodly game. Yeah, an ungodly game to beat that. But that's kind of what Hunter Renfrow has been, right? When defensive coordinators have chosen, like, all right, we're going to shut down Jacobs, and then we're going to double team Davante, and then you go to Hunter at that point. Those have been the games where he's thrived the most. Yes. No.
I really think that
spit it out, dog.
Dude, I don't know, man. I'm fucking like after halftime, it's like, all right, I'm gonna pop these.
Dude, Luke Masterson led us in tackles. 9 tackles.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Look, it's for me right now. I would say stay or go. Fucking Patrick Graham. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, even when you had the guys that we had on the team, which granted, they weren't very talented to begin with, but even when they were all here, they didn't seem like they were progressing all that much.
Yeah.
So stay, go, whatever. Not a big deal for me. But you have 2 guys that were not on the active roster as your starting linebackers. You have 2 guys on your defensive line that were not on your active roster to start the season that are on your defensive line. You have half of your secondary, same. 3 guys in the secondary who were not on your starting roster to start the season, or who were not on a starting roster, not just yours, anyone's. So there is half the team, basically, more than half of your defense that you fielded was not on an active NFL roster to start the season. There is a gross lack of talent on this defense, and you could look firmly at the previous 2 regimes drafting defensively, because it's an organizational thing. But when you look back, it's Mark Davis's problem because he gave total control to John Gruden, and it's Gruden's problem because him and Mayock really didn't do shit with a lot of those picks.
So, yet another story, same thing. The tackling was just atrocious. So with Clyde Edwards-Helaire on injured reserve, the Chiefs went to a stable, kind of like a running back by committee, right? There's a lot of guys that kind of just like took carries. A bunch of random no names just ate us apart. Look at this shit. Isaiah Pacheco, 8 carries, 64 yards and a touchdown. Ronald Jones, 10 carries, 45 yards, touchdown. Kadarius Toney, 3 carries, 26 yards, touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, even with the game already, like, why would he risk it? Like, you're crushing the Raiders. Why would you even risk running? He still went 3 carries, 29 yards. Like, it doesn't matter who carries the ball. We're not going to be able to tackle him. Everyone who carried the ball, Pacheco averaged 8 yards per carry. Mahomes, 9.7 yards per carry. Toney, 8.7 yards per carry. Who the fuck is Pacheco and Kadarius Toney? Who are these guys? Well, put them against the Raiders, and you'll find out who they are real quick.
There'll be somebody
real quick.
Jesus, JR.
I know. Debbie Downer. JR the Barbarian, thank you so much for the super chat. Once again, much appreciated. I didn't receive a check, but I just love having a place to go for dealing with this team's BS. That's how we as fans deal with this ish asterisk. Wow, you guys have much better self-control with your verbiage.
JR, I think I could call you, man. You can call the show.
Yeah. What do you two think we should do with our top 10, maybe top 5 pick? I'm down with Will.
Well, our the highest we can go is, I mean, to start is number 6. That's the highest pick we can have,
I believe.
So if we get the number 6 pick, look, it all depends on who's there. One thing you have to take a look at is you have to weigh, how do you see Jarrett Stidham and Chase Garbers compared to who's coming out in the draft? Mm-hmm. The thing with Jarrett Stidham is you have to pay him. You have to pay him like more than you would pay a rookie quarterback, because he's, an unrestricted free agent now. But he's got 4 years in the system. Do you keep, how long do you want to keep him around? What do you want to do? It's a lot of moving parts to go with that. I don't necessarily think you have to go quarterback 1, because look, no other team in the league has the weapons that we have. No other team has the leading rusher and one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL
of the last 20 years.
One of the best in the last 20 years. And one of the best tight ends in the game, and one of the best slot receivers, and honestly, one of the better backup tight ends. Like, you don't need a freaking all-world quarterback with weapons like this. You need a competent quarterback, and you need to be able to play complementary football. So can you get away with I hate saying this, but can you get away with like a Jimmy G? Can you get away with like an older Tom Brady for a couple of years? Yeah, but you need to have massive upgrade on the line and massive upgrade on the defense to be competitive. It's a different conversation than why do you move on from the previous quarterback, because the inconsistency issues, we don't see those inconsistency issues with Jimmy G, and we don't see those inconsistency issues with a Tom Brady. So it's a different argument before you guys start jumping on me real quick. Will Levis is a guy out there that's, he's an athletic kid. He's got a big arm. He's accurate. Again, is he like, oh my God, the guy to pick with a high pick? When you're drafting this high, you want to get the best player at the position. You want to get the best guy there. And if there's one of those defensive linemen that's available, I don't know, man. I think we go for one of those guys, because it'll make a big difference having those horses on the defensive line. And maybe we can get one of these talented, but maybe needs a little bit seasoning type of quarterbacks in a later round. But we need to upgrade everywhere. There's no place on this team where we don't need to upgrade. We need to upgrade everywhere on this team. I mean,
other than skill,
except for our skill players.
Yeah.
Those skill. I mean, we don't need to do anything for our skill players. That's
why I say no matter where we end up with our draft pick, 6, 8, 10, I say we trade back. Hopefully there's a good.
Oh, I agree.
Hopefully there's like a good quarterback someone cares about and they're willing to trade up, and we get more picks. Hopefully we can get like a first or second or something for Derek Carr. Like, the amount of work that every single position on our defense, other than right end where Maxx Crosby plays, is up for grabs, right? Like Nate Hobbs, I still have faith in to develop. Merrick, I'm not going to give up on him next. There's some defensive tackles that may still help. Chandler Jones isn't going anywhere, but because of his contract. But other than that, it's like we need bodies. We need good young bodies. Trade down. If we can get like a mid-round first and like a late round first for someone trading up for a quarterback, right? Like, that's what we do. And we get a Jimmy G, a Tom Brady, someone that already knows this system. Like Soto said, you get
a steady quarterback, veteran that you don't have to break the bank for. But what we need, RJ, I'm not going to say the word that you hate and that Rory hates. We need impact players on our team. Yeah. We need impact players. I'm sorry, I said it. We need impact players. Sorry. We need impact.
I would love impact guys. I'd be happy with steady Eddies at this point. right? Impact guys is what we need and want.
We're the gap is too big for steady Eddies. Yeah. Because the thing is when you have this like lack of talent, especially defensively, you're gonna ask those steady Eddies, and that's what we have now. We're asking the Billingsley's, and we're asking the Tillerys, and we're asking the Farrells, we're asking them, we're asking the Mastersons, we're asking these types of guys to be impact players, and they're not. They're steady Eddies. They're guys, they're depth guys, but they're not your impact guys.
I like when you talk with your hands in front of the mic because it makes you look blurry and makes me feel like I'm as drunk as you. And it makes me feel good. I wish I was. McBud, thank you for the 20 pounds and no comment. I'm assuming, is that pounds? Euros?
Yes. Pounds. No, euro is the E with the little thing on it.
Okay. It doesn't count. Might as well be Monopoly money. But we'll take it anyway, McBud. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
What's the pound? Is the pounds a little bit over $1 still? It's like $1.19 or something like that.
It was when I was in London in October.
It was nice, right?
It was under the dollar.
Was it?
It was for a brief time, for a very brief time. It was. I was like, oh, perfect.
I used to work. I used to work in currency exchange. And when I was there, it was nice and strong. What the hell are you guys doing over there in the UK? Get your shit up.
Yeah. Again, thank you, McBud. Much appreciated. So that's so that kind of goes in what I mean for a quarterback situation. Like, I still want Stidham in the room. Let's give him like a 3-year backup quarterback type deal. I think that makes sense. You still, again, Chase Garbers, maybe you think if they like developing him, or you draft someone to develop, see what the scouts like, then I still think you go after somebody. The reports are leaning more Jimmy G than Tom Brady. The report was like I guess the relationship between Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels isn't as great as people thought. Like, obviously they won a lot of rings together and they were successful together, but I guess the personal relationship isn't quite as good as people thought it was. Jimmy G will be cheaper and he's younger, but he gets hurt.
More injury prone.
So like that's why a really good, competent backup.
Well, that's why
it needs to be someone who knows the system. Brady, Stidham, Jimmy G. How many other people?
No one that we want. Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett knows the system.
He'd be a backup, right?
He'd be a backup. I mean, look, here's the deal, brothers.
And that's the bottom line.
Thinking. Now, see, I was doing Macho Man. You were kind of doing Macho Man hands with a Stone Cold line.
See, I didn't watch pro wrestling, so I just kind of imitate what I see. Pretend I know.
Okay. So, it depends on what our plan is. Like, the head coach has a 1-year plan, right? Like, what are we going to do next year to be better? Because my ass is on the line. The GM sees 3 to 5 years down the line. They look for the bigger picture.
Should.
From the GM's eyes, if they say, look, we can identify so-and-so as somebody that can come in here and really do something good for us, where do we get this stopgap guy that I'm not leaving my head coach out to dry?
Yeah.
By giving him some fucking wet fish. You know what I'm saying? So, look, Jacoby Brissett, I have confidence that he can show up with the weapons that we have as long as we can protect him, and he can be just fine.
Yeah.
I have no issues. He'd have better weapons than he had in Cleveland, and he still won some games in Cleveland. Cleveland didn't take a dump until fucking Watson came back. That's when they took the major dump. They were doing just fine. I'm not saying that he's the end-all be-all guy, so don't fucking jump all over me here, okay? Do we have options if that is the direction we want to go? So
I think it has to be. I think it has to be a guy.
It has to be a system guy.
Got to be a guy who knows
that knows the system. The issue that we're looking at right now is how far you want to push to get the long-term replacement. Because right now what you're looking at Stidham as somebody who may develop. Because look, say what you want to say. Stidham had a poor game today. He's young. You show me basically a rookie because he hasn't played. You can practice all you want, but he hasn't played, right?
Yeah.
Look at Trevor Lawrence, how he's doing this year compared to last year. Look at these rookie quarterbacks. No rookie quarterback goes out there and lights the world on fire. It just doesn't work. It doesn't happen that way. So give him some, a full training camp, give him a full preseason, give him a full season with first team reps, all that practice, everything focusing on him to be prepared. You could prepare all you want in the film room and all that stuff. It's different from going out there and learning on the field. I have not given up hope on Jarrett Stidham just yet as being a bridge quarterback, because a lot of times the bridges end up being, something that you want to stick with moving forward.
Omar, thank you for the super chat. Much
Thanks,
appreciated. Buddy. The problem was more than a quarterback away. I hate how nobody blames Davis. The man doesn't know how to hire. The Gruden was the worst hire in NFL history. Bold. Well, that's not even like top 3 worst hires in Raiders history.
Yeah. I think
John Gruden.
The head coach hire was not. The GM hire, yeah, that was. The president, like making him the president, yeah, that was bad. That was very bad.
Maybe you didn't hear, Omar, me blaming Mark Davis you probably weren't here yet, but at the very top of the show.
Or me either. I mean,
yeah, very top of the show. It's like, yeah, Mark Davis, like, you're mad that stadium is full of away fans? Well, give your home fans a reason to not sell their season tickets.
Yeah.
How about that? Here's a wild idea. Like, people are willing to pay triple to go see their team in Las Vegas because they have sapphires and 24-hour buffets and like 900 country concerts every single weekend. Like, yeah, people want to come there and they're there to spend money. It's the only city in the world where you're like, you look at your wallet and you look at the money in it and you're just like, bye. Like, you're in the plane, right? Bye.
Dude, you walk into Vegas.
I don't know where you're going, but I know you're not going to be here when I leave, and I don't care. It's the only city in the world like that.
Dude, you walk in, you land into Vegas, and you basically have your money, and you hand it to Las Vegas and say, just give me back what you think I should have.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes it's nothing.
I rationalize, like, when I go to a craps table and I lose like $800, I'm like, well, I had $801 worth of fun. So if anything, I made money on that experience. I'm the cheapest motherfucker on planet Earth, Soto. But something about Vegas makes me be like, oh yeah, $1,000 in gambling losses. Like, say la vie. It's Vegas. What can you do? And I'm there
$90 for a tomahawk steak. Listen, man, that's a pretty good damn deal. Wait, and you're gonna put a coating of fucking edible gold on the top? Shit.
Okay, you
give
sold
me 2.
That's the wisest investment I can think of with my hard-earned money. Seriously, every time I buy anything, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's, that's like an hour and a half long radio shift that calls me. So I have to work an hour and a half to purchase this thing. Or if it's like a car, it's like, okay, that's a 2.5 months worth of work. Like, is it worth in Vegas? I'm just like, bleh.
It's gone.
JR the Barbarian, thank you again for the super chat. Much appreciated. This is a guy who treats us like Vegas, and we love him for it. Is Stidham the guy, or is it too early?
Way too early.
Well, to answer both of your questions, I differ from Soto and Rory and most people. In any position of football, in any sport in general, I don't ever believe that there is a guy, right? Like, oh, he is the guy. Is he the best guy we can get? Is he the best guy for the situation? Is he the best value for where we are right now? I don't believe in the guy. Every single position on that Raiders roster is up for grabs if there's someone better value, could help us out more, other than Daniel Carlson, Maxx Crosby, and Davante Adams. Every position's up for grabs, right? So but I know I'm unique in that, JR. Like, Soto feels like there's guys. I don't believe that there's ever the guy, to answer your first question, but I know what you mean. Or is it too early? 2 games. He played 2 games. He started twice in a 4-year career, right? And only twice for the Raiders this season, when the season was already over, basically.
Against the 2 best teams in the fucking...
Against arguably the best defense and maybe the team that's going to win the Super Bowl, right? And we saw basically 2 sides of the coin with him, right? Played great against the Niners, played trash today. The mistakes he made last week were all pressure dependent. This time, the pressure got to him. He got sacked 6 times. The interception, not pressure related, just bad decision, bad throw.
Decision. He got another pass batted. We got to work on that.
Pass batted was bad. The fumble dropped fumbled 2 twice. Fumbles, lost 1, right? So these turnovers are going to be a major issue. However, he knows the system, pretty mobile, ballsy, right? Stands there in the pocket, take a hit. It seems like the team respects him, likes him. He has synergy with Davante Adams. It didn't really show today, but it showed last week. Mm-hmm. Like I said pregame in yesterday's pregame show. There's nothing he can do today. There's nothing great he can do today to make me say, he's the starter, don't worry about it. There's nothing terrible he can do today that's going to make me say, get rid of him, he's trash, right? He's already proven he's either going to be an awesome backup that we want, a bridge quarterback, and he's still young enough where he can develop into something, right? Like what he is right now is not where he will be at the end of his career. Hopefully he improves, right? Sometimes they get worse. Who knows? But he knows the Josh McDaniels system, and that has proven. Like I thought that was how it was to begin with, but this season has proved for me that I'd rather have a quarterback that's a 5 out of 10, but knows McDaniels' system than a quarterback who's 9 out of 10 and doesn't. Like that's just the system that he runs. That's just how he is. And that's the quarterback that he needs.
Knowing where to go with the balls is huge. Knowing where, how to work and how to manage the system is big. Yep. I do want to say one thing, even in my altered state, I was dead nuts on Rory says that's $24, 20 pounds. I said, you know what? Is it about like 119 conversion rate, 119 to $1? That's fucking 120, $1.20 pound to $1.
Math.
I am a freaking genius.
Look at you mathing.
Man alive.
Yeah.
Christian Allen over here is having a coronary. Let's see what he's flipping out about. This defense changed so many times this year. It was supposed to fail. Like Carr was supposed to fail. Josh didn't want the playoffs. I don't know, man. If you really think that Josh wanted the team and Carr to fail, I just think that's idiotic, man. I'm assuming that you're smarter than that. That you don't think a first time or a first year head coach that flamed out his previous time being a head coach wants to lose. I don't know if that's necessarily correct. Also,
Josh McDaniels traded away, and Ziegler traded away a first and a second for a receiver, signed Chandler Jones to a massive deal, signed Hunter, extended Darren Waller early when he didn't need to. They were all in. Every single one of these moves says, yeah, we think we can win this year. Right now, like 10-win team, franchise quarterback, $1 billion weapons. We think we can make this defensive line work. Patrick Graham has this great reputation of taking spare parts and still making an adequate or, a defense that you can field on Sundays, if not good. They thought they were winning this season. Don't think for a second. That is not an exit for Josh McDaniels. Do not give Josh McDaniels and this crew that excuse. Like, give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, they wanted to tank because that's how they're going to get rid of Carr. That's how they're going to get high trap. No. They just fucking sucked.
They did not do well this year. Also, let's see, Christian Allen. The defense is bad, but we are used to that. We can blame the defense, but Carr and the other coaches could win. So what's the excuse? Well, look, you're trying to compare a 9-year quarterback to a second week starter at quarterback. Mm. It's not the same. You have to take a look at like RJ says, the trajectory. You have a 9-year quarterback who's pretty up and down. You have a young quarterback making a second start who shows flashes but makes young quarterback mistakes. That's where you project, right? What's coming up in the future. And it's not always about the player. It's about how much they're going to cost you as well. I think was just as big a determining factor in us moving on from Derek Carr than his play itself. I think that, he signed that prove it deal and wanted to bet on himself. And unfortunately came up snake eyes and it didn't work out for him. If it works out for him in the future, look, man, he could end up in the ditch or he could be the president of the United States. It's not going to bother me any, but for his sake, for a personal sake, as a person, I hope he does well.
Delayed grats. Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Delayed gratification. That's what we've been doing as Raider fans for 20 years. We're just assuming it's going to be coming down the line. Jarrett Stidham still threw for more yards than Patrick Mahomes, and he was more mobile than Carr ever was. He might, all caps, be a great bridge quarterback or backup Brady. I mean, yeah, he threw more passes than Mahomes because he had more yards because he had 10 more attempts. And he got like half of those in garbage time. Patrick Mahomes only needed 18 completions to
Patrick Mahomes didn't play the fourth quarter, I don't think, right?
Right.
But also, look, also Stidham had that touchdown dropped in the end zone. He had that failed fourth down, drive where we were, passing interference a couple times. But look, I'm not going to make excuses for him. He didn't get it done. You got to find a way to get it done. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's a different type of not winning than we've seen before.
Yeah,
it's a different type, and I hope you guys can appreciate where I'm coming from here, because I want what you guys want. Hopefully, I want us to win, right? Mm-hmm. And the way that we've been losing the last 2 weeks, it's different than we've been losing the rest of the season. It's, even though the situation may have been the same, a lot of the play that we've seen is different. It's not like we went out to a big lead in the first half and didn't do anything and allowed the team to come back. We were still scoring the entire game. It's just the other team scored more because our defense is that bad.
Or today we didn't score at all other than garbage time.
Well, yeah, and again, that goes to the young quarterback making dumb mistakes and some bad luck. But you know what? It is what it is. You're the quarterback. You take the blame. You take the glory.
Before we get out of here, we've been doing this almost an hour. Real quick, giant shout out to our boy Josh Jacobs. You guys all saw the reports. He was missing all week. He did have some injuries, but it was his father who had emergency heart surgery in Tulsa. That's where he was all week. And according to reports, Friday night, he's like, "I'll be with you, Pops." And Pops is like, "Nope, you go play. This is the last game of maybe your last season as a Raider. You go down there, make sure you seal up that rushing title, help your team wins, try to beat up those Chiefs for me." And he did, and he wore the eye black with Pops on it. Josh Jacobs got a little lost in a lot of the storyline. It's crazy how he's the NFL rushing leader. He's going to win the NFL rushing title on a bad 6-win team. And that story still got buried this season. Yeah. It's like the Carr fiasco, McDaniels, bad season, Davante playing great, Stidham making a start, all the drama swirling around this team. The good feel-good story of a guy that deserves this, a guy that earned this. Josh motherfucking Jacobs went from living in a suburban to being the NFL rushing leader in a contract year where he will be a multi-millionaire next season and beyond, and just a great guy, and went through this tragedy throughout this week. Apparently the surgery went well for his Pops. Best of luck to Mr. Jacobs.
Yeah, man, best of luck. Also, 3 years to the day that Jacobs bought his dad a house. He surprised him. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe the dad showed up thinking that that was Josh's house, like another property for him, but it actually ended up being a house that he purchased for his father, which is great.
A guy you absolutely root for
sure.
Earned everything. Again, like we talked about it last week, but how Josh McDaniels was like, an individual getting a rushing title, that's a team accomplishment. Like, I feel like that's where the team should be celebrated. And there's a lot of truth to that. It's coach speak and partly true. But no one has more yards after contact than Josh Jacobs.
He earned it. He earned that shit.
It wasn't like he was going behind like the Cowboys line of the 90s, right? Where it's just like Emmitt Smith just had gaping holes.
He's also not the biggest guy either. The other guys on that list who has a lot of yards after contact, they're bigger dudes.
It's not as sexy or glamorous or heart-wrenching as a lot of the Raider stories this season, but it's a story that deserves a lot more attention because Jacobs is the man.
Good dude.
Well, again, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Stidham reminds me of Carr before he broke his leg and back.
My neck and my back.
need a backiotomy.
You need a
You remember,
backiotomy. Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
What movie is that from? Let us know in the comment section.
Is that from a movie or is that from a TV show?
Movie.
Are you sure?
No.
It's a TV
I'm
show.
not sure.
It's definitely a TV show.
Okay.
It rhymes with Dave Chappelle.
Have Jabel. It's funny you bring this up, Will, because I don't know if you saw the episode, but we found footage, as if like I did some like research. No, like a listener sent it to me. A video that Stidham did his junior year of college. And he was asked like, hey, what quarterbacks do you like aspire to be or remind of you? And he said, Derek Carr. He's like, yeah, like I think like I play like a Derek Carr, and he aspired to be a Tom Brady, which is hilarious because he took Derek Carr's job. And there's a lot of reports saying that Tom Brady's now going to take his job. How ironic.
How ironic. Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think? All right. Anything else, Soto, before we end the final post-game show of the 2022-2023 season? A lot to talk about this offseason. I think we should do a show tomorrow because there's so many things coming out. Sean Payton potentially going to Denver. Mark Davis pissed. I don't think so. Look.
What is Denver going to trade to get him? They don't have anything to trade. They don't have a first rounder to trade.
This is the only thing. There's that, right? They're in cap purgatory because of Russell Wilson. They have no picks to trade for.
It doesn't matter about cap because they have the whatever the fucking Walmart dude wants to pay him.
Well, my point being is like, why would Sean Payton go to a team that's barbecued?
$20 million a year. That's why.
Like, it would have to, but he could get close to that or that.
Bro, look, if you're making a $100 million contract, $5 million ain't that big a deal. But if you're making 20, $5 million is a big deal.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be like the Waltons just opening up the bank for Sean Payton, letting him also be GM. Like they're going to have to give him because he's going to be able to pick any job he wants. Any job. Like if Sean Payton called Mark Davis and is like, hey, I want to be a Raider. I want to be the Raider head coach. McDaniels is gone, right? Like Sean Payton's that big of a catch right now, right? The best possible for you. John Harbaugh, there's still rumors that he might be coming out. But Sean Payton's what everybody wants. Everybody wants Sean Payton, and Raider fans should as well. He has his pick of any team he wants to go to, other than like 10. Like 10 teams that like love their coach and aren't going to move on for Sean Payton. Why he would go to Broncos? It would have to be for a Brinks truck full of gold bullion and every decision-making power. He gets to pick, picks the secretary. He gets to bang John Elway's wife once a week. Like he's going to be able to get every single thing he wants.
Forget that old bag, bro. I want the scene from Rush Hour.
Okay.
I want those 30 Asian chicks just lined up.
I think Sean Payton can afford that now. I mean, you and I can afford that in Thailand. Imagine what Sean Payton can afford.
I can't afford the freaking penicillin though. That's just
no.
That's a lot of penicillin I'm gonna need.
It comes with the purchase.
Oh, I think it comes with the freaking syringe. You just pump right in the stem.
Exactly. Because it's full of Viagra, penicillin, and Molly. There you go. We call it Tusi. Enjoy. We should do a show tomorrow because there's just so much breaking news and so much to get to. But if not tomorrow, throughout the course of this week, we'll get to what our perfect offseason looks like, who we want to stay, who we want to see go. A lot of contracts coming to an end this season, a lot of one-year deals. We gotta work out. And we'll put a positive spin on it too. Like I want to go through the top 10 moments of this season because there were some awesome, great moments.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs getting the rushing title, Davante Adams breaking that record. Feels like forever ago. Hunter Renfrow getting that tackle on that fake punt. That was awesome.
That was last year.
That was this year.
No, that was
maybe that's why it does feel like so long ago.
Jeez, who's drinking here? Me or you?
I think I'm getting a contact high.
You're definitely high. Look, guys, just because the season's over doesn't mean the show ends. We will still come out with content multiple times a week. I'm going to try my best to jump on even at work when I have just stuff to say. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I've been tweeting more often. I may change my.
You're going to give out the handle, or are you going to have people?
Yeah, I'm going to try to change it. How do I change my name?
Yeah, we'll just put it in a banner.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. Let me check.
God damn it, Soto!
Look, man,
such a bum.
Yeah, and all I follow is like Instagram models or OnlyFans models and Asian chicks. So deal with it.
All right.
Don't look at my likes either.
You've got 7 seconds to say what it is.
It's Mr. Wonderful 42. So Mr. Wonderful with 2
32?
L's 42.
Right. There you go. Mr. Wonderful 42.
That's me at Twitter. So fucking follow
Obviously,
me.
you care about it so much, you know the name of it off the top of your head.
Bro, I just started tweeting like for real, like maybe a week ago.
I know. I can tell you're new because you add like 8 hashtags on it every time, like it's an Instagram post.
Yeah, I have the on my clipboard and I just fucking just paste it.
See,
I don't know what I'm doing.
You're learning. You're learning as you go.
But I'm following a lot.
You're a bridge tweeter like Jarrett Stidham. You're a bridge.
Yeah, tweeter. Man. Yeah, for sure. So look, I want to say there's a couple of guys on here that I want to thank.
Did you just win an Oscar? You're like, follow me on Twitter. I got a list of guys I need to thank. Mom,
I want to give up a bunch of love to these
guys. Go to bed.
I want to give love to our subscribers and our listeners. Okay. But you know what? RJ made it weird, so I'm not going to do it.
Good. All right. Well, that's it for us. Big off season coming up. Thank you. This was our best super chat, like by far. Like we shattered all records today. Thank you guys.
We should lose more
super
often.
Chat, right? we should. The season should end in trash dumpster fires every single season. It's really
every day should be the last game of the season.
And again, we remind you, every single dollar we've ever gotten from YouTube or anywhere, we haven't spent any of it. It's all saving for stuff that we're doing. It's all been for hardware. I'm going to start building a studio here in a little bit. It's all going back into the show. When we get to like 10,000 subscribers, maybe we'll treat ourselves a little bit. But for now, it's all going back into the show. We appreciate it.
Look at that car, dude. You see that car?
That's pretty.
That's badass.
Well, what is it? Is this like a Nissan Altima, but with sweet decals?
I think it looks like a Nissan Altima. Or is that
I guess that's how you. So I've been debating just getting like a $4,000 like shitty like van, like one of those like 12-seater vans, but just Raider it the fuck out.
Those molester vans.
Yeah, exactly. With little curtains on the windows.
Just get it wrapped, dude.
But just Raider it out. Yeah, just wrap it with Raider stuff, and it's like, oh wow, you don't look like a trash human being anymore.
It's a Mazda.
Like the Raiders all out. All right. Well, until next time. Knock on wood if you're with me.